Today we are going to be talking about the area of trapezoids, and this is on page 168, lesson 4.3 in your Big Ideas textbook. Our purpose is going to be to apply what we know about the area of a rectangle and discover a way to find the area of a trapezoid based on that information. So, first thing I want to talk about is the area of a trapezoid. And let's start with the definition. A trapezoid is a four-sided figure with one set of parallel sides. What the main difference is between a trapezoid and a parallelogram is a trapezoid only has one set of parallel sides and a parallelogram has two sets of parallel sides. Now, the way that we're going to find the area of a trapezoid is using the formula area equals 1/2 the height times base 1 plus base 2, which is in parentheses, indicating that you must add the bases together first. Now, this is the formula that the book gives you, but I'm going to tell you another one that means the exact same thing. And several people feel that this is the easier formula to use because then you don't have to be using fractions. So remember that dividing by 2 gives you the exact same result as multiplying by 1/2. So I could also write the area for a trapezoid formula as height, parentheses, base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2. Now, please take a moment, stop the video, and either record either formula, whether you want to use the dividing by 2 or the multiplying by the 1/2. But please put the formula for area of a trapezoid in your notes. All right, so as I mentioned before, the trapezoid is a quadrilateral that only has one pair of sides that are parallel. When you are identifying base 1 and base 2, those bases are going to be the sides that are parallel. So notice up at the top they have base 1. Down on the bottom they've labeled it base 2. It honestly makes no difference at all which one you consider to be base 1 and which one's base 2, although typically most people consider the top to be base 1, the bottom to be base 2. Then remember, height, just like in a parallelogram or a triangle, height is going to be when you draw a vertical line straight down between base 1 and base 2. It doesn't matter where you measure that at because the height is going to be the same no matter what part of the bases you connect. But it has to be a perpendicular line connecting them. So, once again, as we just learned, the formula is 1/2 the height, parenthesis, base 1 plus base 2, or height after you add base 1 plus base 2. You multiply it by the height and divide by 2. Now, I'm going to take a moment to explain to you the process. Why is it that this works? Why do we add the bases, multiply by the height, and divide it by 2? If I took this trapezoid, and notice this is just a smaller version of the one that's off to the side, and I duplicated it or made a second one right beside it, I can then flip one trapezoid over, so the second one has just been flipped over, nothing's been changed about the size. And then if I move them together, I now have a parallelogram. And the parallelogram, if I look at the two sides, I'll highlight them in yellow here. Each of the bases beside each other form the two sides of the parallelogram, and it's base 1 plus base 2 to make them equal. The height didn't change at all. Now, if I take base 1 and add it to base 2 and then divide it by 2, I'm going to find out exactly how long half of them is together. And when I find out what half is, it's going to show me the area for just one of the trapezoids. So once again, base 1 plus base 2, you multiply it by the height, and then you do need to divide by 2, otherwise you're going to get the area of 2 trapezoids instead of just 1. Okay, so here's an example that we're going to work out. Once again, it doesn't matter which side you consider to be base 1 and which side you consider to be base 2. Your bases have to be the sides that are parallel. You cannot use the other sides. So I'm just going to use base 1 as 4 and base 2 as the 8. So I'm going to start by putting my formula down. Don't forget to divide it by 2. Now I'm going to substitute my numbers, my bases and the height. So the area, the height is going to be 5 because this is the length of the perpendicular line connecting the two bases. So my height is 5, base 1 is 4, base 2 is 8. Those numbers need to be added, and then I need to divide it by 2 so that it's just 1 and not 2 trapezoids. Order of operations tells me that I need to add first. So 4 plus 8 is 12. I fill in the rest of my formula. Next thing I have to do is multiply. So 5 times 12 is 60. And then 60 divided by 2 is 30. So my area is 30 millimeters. And then remember, no matter what shape we're doing, area is always squared. 30 millimeters squared.